Hi everyone, Dala. Welcome. So today I wanted to show you a deck of cards that's very dear to me, that I really love, that I find very powerful, that gives me fantastic readings, and that I use for dream work as well. So this is the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot by Louise Martini and Sally Ann Glassman. And so this comes, here's the box. And it opens this way. I really enjoy this set of cards. You don't have to be a voodoo practitioner or anything like that. Myself, I use these cards. You don't have to be initiated into any type of African spirituality to enjoy and use these cards to your own benefit. So first of all, if you are not a tarot reader, or you don't know anything about tarot, that's fine. You're not gonna need all that knowledge in order to be able to use this card. And as you can see, there's the guidebook to the cards itself will provide you with all the information you need to be able to work with the cards. Now, I do have to say that for me, and I will explain that more in depth in other videos, this is a deck that I grabbed a few years ago. This was printed back in 1992, so this is not like some new published deck. So I grabbed this few years ago, and I've used it several times sporadically. Here is the table of content, as you can see. So it has an introduction to Voodoo, a plain definition, then Voodoo and Western esoteric tradition on using the cards, then on to the 22 rows of the wild card with different archetypes. Then here it talks about the 40 spirits that are equated. There's even correspondence to the Kabbalah. And the different spirit of the tree of life. Some of them are selected and used here. Of course, the elements. If you continue, you have the different sephira of the tree of life. So a lot of correspondence here between Voodoo Tarot and Western, let's say, Kabbalistic spirituality. Then you have an introduction. In the introduction, I think there's a portion where he explains on how to activate the cards. And this is a part where I'll have to tell you, I did not activate the cards the way it's being said in the book. Many deck of cards that you will find the person who's made the deck will tell you how to activate the card by performing a specific ritual or doing some specific. I often play with the card my own way first until I get to the point that I want to activate it just the way it was told by the author, the creator, what have you, because I do want to impress my own energy, and I do want to see if I manage to activate the card my own way and the card are working for me that way. I don't see the need to go in and to do what the author or creator is basically saying. I think it's more, if you don't get as much of connection or accurate readings, then you may want to go back and do it exactly as the creator states in the book. But I've never had any issues doing things my own way, and I have a lot of decks in my witchy room, so I don't tend to activate them all or keep them all activated at the same time, just because I don't want to have a kind of energy messing up in there. The same way when I'm charging or using cards, I will rather select the type of energy that I want to work with and be in my space. So then, for example, you have an image, a representation of the card symbol, and then you have about 2 page and a half, 2 page of information in the historical with the tree of life, correspondence with, and then contemplation if you want to use them as a meditation tool or just something to think about and meditate, and then some divination, some keywords for you to help interpret the card and its meaning. And then I think you do have also some spread in there, I don't recall. as you can see, I basically read the guidebook when I first got the yeah, there you go. So you have a different, the yes of no, like Bascane, the crossroad, the marasa. So there's different type of readings that you find in here. Elzuli Frida's spread. And then, so some people just take the book and just, use it as direction and kind of use it as their own Bible. For me, I'm more of a free writer, of a free spirited. So, and the great thing is that at the end, they give you, I know some of you are avid researchers. At the end, they give you a little bit of glossary, and then they give you some references that you can go check out, bibliography and books on, Haitian voodoo that if you want to know more. I know some of you have asked about, Haitian voodoo and things like that. So you can definitely use them if you want to know more about them. This book, this deck of cards, I found it on Amazon. It was reasonably priced. I think I waited for a long time because it was out of stock at the moment. And the used version was just so high compared to the actual cost of the deck that I prefer to wait, which usually I don't. I'm very much somebody who's very impulsive. If I have my eyes on something, I want to get it now. But when some of the prices are just outrageously high, it just doesn't make any sense for me to do that. So you have a really wonderful guidebook to help you. Then it comes in this box. Very sturdy box. I have this for at least 2 to 3 years, and it's not dusty. The cards are well kept, and the stock also. It is also maybe because I take very great caution about these cards in particular, so I really use them when for specific experiences. So I'll show you all of the cards so you can have an idea. The world egg. We often talk about the beginning of life, and the world egg is supposed to be the full, corresponding to the full in tarot. For this reading, let's not do, I won't do corresponding to the tower. I'll just let you do a few commentaries on the card in terms of the meaning. You have the egg. If you are familiar with the Sankofa, which is going back to fetch the wisdom, to fetch what's important, the egg is also a very important symbol of that. Egg is the beginning of life. It's also the continuation of life because the egg came from the mother. And then you have the serpent, which is also wisdom and all of that. So the egg, the beginning, the new life into the mouth of wisdom. So it's very powerful symbolism to begin the deck with. And again, this is all of my own interpretation. If you want to read anything else, you have a lot of meanings in the book itself. Dr. John, who was a great diviner, and here using the drums. And I have a whole video that's going to come up on the sound of the drums and how powerful it is, whether you want to meditate, whether you want to do get into trance state, and just travel and have different experiences, get in touch with the spirit world. Basically, the drum is a very, very powerful tool, and the sound of the drum, obviously. Here you have Marie Laveau, which is very, very well known for her as a practitioner of voodoo from New Orleans. I'll let you discover her story if you don't know yet, but it's very mystifying woman, a very amazing woman in terms of what she was able to accomplish with her practice in voodoo, and not only get financially stable but also help the community. All of the symbolism and the charisma that's resonated with her as an archetype of the strength of women, the strength of spiritual women, and of course the resilience into coming out of the era of slavery and segregation and all that. Very, very powerful archetype and ancestor to honor and to work with. Aizan. If I were to do that for every card, we'd probably be here forever. So you'll have the leisure and the pleasure of discovering more of each of these cards when you actually get the deck and the book. See, and the artwork is very impressionative. So this is not, as you may have seen from the beginning of the deck, this is not one of those deck where you're going to be, that it is all nice, love and light, as some people would say. It is a much well-balanced deck. African spirituality tend to be that way. We always see both sides, not as good or evil, but much more as complementary sides for the balance. When we talk about Mahat, or when we talk about the invisible and the visible, and the nature of energy and spirits in general. Les morts, this is the dead in French. So, bon ange, again, this is a good angel. Courir le Mardi Gras, this is basically running Mardi Gras. Déluge. Les étoiles, stars, magic mirror. Gros bon ange, it's a big good angel. Ancestors, les ancêtres. Carnival. Qui est les barons. La flamme. So it's some people have told me either they love this deck or they hate it. To me, that's why it's either you connect with it or you don't. But sometimes you do have to give it a little bit of time in order for you to be able to connect with it. It is a deck that may scare some people just because of the intensity that it has, at least for me, in terms also of the archetype and the way the imagery is being presented. It's not your typical tarot deck or your typical deck for that matter. It's really a deck that is going to force you to have certain experiences. It's a deck that loves to be used but not abused. Meaning, I don't know anyone who uses this deck for daily draws. It's really a deck that when you use it, you have to have a full experience with it. It's not going to be one of those decks. It's going to be a quick reading, just to get by, like a quick daily reading. You pick a card and everything like that. It's really a deck that wants to draw you in, that wants you to really, build a relationship and really experience with it. Not only know the cards and all of that stuff, but really, really have a story to tell after you've used the deck. Really have some type of knowledge when you to acquire some type of knowledge using it. At least that has been my experience with the deck. Those are for the major or merger, I don't remember, but this is basically the first part of the deck. And of course I didn't show you the back of the card, which I'll do right now. This is the back of the card. So, and I'm just realizing now that my company's colors are purple, in the same tone of purple and gold. Here's purple and yellow, so we really close in some way. And then you have here the other way of representing the Sankofa, which is also a heart, and some other symbolism. Of course, the serpent, the stars, the moon on top, and then the balance with the pyramid. So, if we continue, Santeria, Yagua. So it's a deck that even if you're not a card reader or a tarot enthusiast, you can get out of the tarot. To me, when I first approached this deck, the fact that it was written tarot, I didn't really have a feel of a tarot. I use this much more as an oracle, or when I want to do rituals. It's a great deck to work with in that way. You see, this is why I say it's not all love and light, okay? When you're talking about anything that has to do with voodoo and hoodoo and New Orleans voodoo, more particularly, it's a spiritual system that was developed in a time where there was a lot of physical pain and physical conflict. So, of course, that's going to be reflected in part of the spirituality. But it's also, as you can see here, a spiritual system that's very much into healing as well, and being close to nature and using plant for healing, using sound with the drums for healing. So it's a whole system that is not just there to for protection and retribution and all that stuff. Is also there to heal, and I think it's good to stress that, because sometimes people completely forget that voodoo is not just something that is there to do evil or negative things, but it's much also a system that is there that can help you heal and that can help you develop yourself personally and spiritually. So experience things for yourself. Don't always rely on what other people are saying. I'm showing you the card and I'm showing you to see, maybe it will pique your interest, maybe it won't. And it's up to you to research that. Those cards can also be found online. And it's just so that when you think about African spirituality, that you're not necessarily just going and being deterred by whatever you are hearing. You always have to use your own discernment. See, this is a really interesting depiction of Yemaya, melanated mother of the world, of the waters, in the waters. Waters are everything. Motion, commotion, emotions. A lot to talk about in the energy, and you look at the number 9 with the number of completion. There's so much there, so much symbolism into it. From her ornament on her neck, which is the throat chakra, where emotion usually sometimes can be blocked, where you need to express yourself, to express this emotion. Emotions are also symbolized through water, which, there's so much symbolism into a card like that for a reading, it just makes it so much more intense. And that melanin surrounding her, the black mother, is just so much. And I won't even get into the natural hair and the locks and all those different things, and the energy that it brings as well. All of this imagery to me is also something that pulled me towards this deck of cards, because it's just seeing brothers and sisters and intertwined in this system of belief that, to me, spoke to my soul. Many decks speak to me at different level, but this is really a deck that I cherish. This is kind of a deck that I use as a treat. I don't use it very often because I use it as a treat. I use it as something that helps me go in the depth of my own lineage and face all of that. That will me. And so it goes on to, some of the representation that are being made are very interesting, because it is again based on the New Orleans voodoo. So it has the African flavor with all of the some of the orishas and all of that, but it also mixed with the Santeria. You've seen different things, and you've seen different aspect of that. And then you have the context of North America, where the characters are going to reflect the mixture of bloodlines and all different things, from Marie Laveau to all of that. So you get the flavor that it is not quite only African, it is very much New Orleans, with the New Orleans flavor. Here we see the pearl, but all the things of the carnival and all of that, the context of New Orleans, and you get the flavor of New Orleans by using this deck. I just wanted to stop on this card, which is La Sirène, which is the mermaid. And I find it very interesting. Have you seen how Yemaya was portrayed being in all her splendor in the waters, and then you have La Sirène here. And this is just to make a little parenthesis in my videos about the Mamiwatas, that mermaids are water spirits, Mami Waters, and we are seeing them in their physical form as mermaid, but they are very spiritual being, not real not only part of the physical world, but much more part of the spiritual world than the physical one. So that's la sirène, or the mermaid, is part of the Mami Wata beings of the waters. Erzuli la flambeau. So continuing, there's much more cards to end with. So, and I got this deck before I went to New Orleans the second time. I first went to New Orleans back in 2016, I believe. No, it was the winter of 2015, I'm sorry. So before Katrina happened. And then I went back there, I bought this deck, and then I went back there in 2014 after Katrina. And the energy and the vibe of the city, even though I didn't live there, was already, I could feel that it was very much different. So other stuff stayed the same, but some places was very different. And I had some very amazing experiences there that I will share with you guys in a different video. You can let me know in the comments if you like to hear about that. And that's the last card of the deck. So I hope you enjoy. You can let me know if you like this this deck, and what are your thoughts from the imagery and the content. Maybe you already knew about this deck before I showed it to you here. Maybe you do have it all as well, so let me know what you think about it. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.